Hi guys, welcome to Winsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah. I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. Today's project is actually going to be done in two different parts. The first part today, and then the second part will still be in the same video, but it will be done on a different day. I'm going to be digging up a couple things that I'm going to be shifting out of my yard to make way for things that I like a lot more. And then we'll actually be planting them at the cottage. So today I'm doing the digging up part, and hopefully tomorrow I'll do the part where I get them in the ground. There's only two main things that I am moving, but I thought I would bring you along to show you what's coming out. Let's talk about this Heliopsis and try not to judge it too hard right now. We had like 3 inches of rain in one big storm, so that's why it's flopping in the middle like this. There's actually two different stands here. One that's here and one that's here. Though I do think that they could be split up a little bit. This is very pretty, don't get me wrong. I think it brings a really bright pop of color, but it's not really my color scheme. The only red that I really like is the Lucifer's tongue. This like orange reddy mixture is not quite my thing. This was here when I moved in, and it is pretty, so I left it, but I think after about 7 or 8 years, it's time for it to move on. Now, normally you definitely would prefer to move things in like the fall or the spring, not when they're in full bloom. I was gonna wait to do this until the fall, but I actually have the plant that's going here, and it's been in its container for a little while, and I dearly would love to get it in the ground. So what I'm actually gonna do, and this is a little sacrilegious, but I'm gonna shear this back a little bit, cutting all the blooms off to like try and not stress it quite as much. And then I'm gonna dig it up and put it in a pot. It'll get planted, and you know what? They might even flush some more blooms later this summer if they like and transplant well in their area. We're in a really good, nice, cool spell. It is actually only like 68 degrees right now. It is phenomenal, and this week at the cottage is like low 70s and then 80s, so it's if it's summer, it's a good time because there's like a 2 to 3 week period as far out as we can see where it's not too hot. And I know that my dad will take good care of it at the cottage, just making sure it's watered and whatnot. So I'm gonna try and save the flowers. I might give some to see if I can give some to my coworkers. I'm not gonna be like particular about the flowers. I'm actually going to get some loppers out here and just lop it all off, but they're going to go in some pots and come to the cottage with me. The other thing that's actually coming to the cottage is to still be under this dying crab apple. You almost can't see it, to be honest, because it's been engulfed by this hosta, which is just amazing. And then also the hellebore that loves its spot. But this is it. I actually think that it may have stooled out into two different plants, because I think that is a plant and this is a plant. So I'm actually going to pull them up and separate them. These guys are going to, I'm having a hard time with this. So they've become engulfed, as you can see, especially since I have such a hard time even showing you. And they have to move anyway, because everything under this tree is going to be moved when we go to get things out. They're already a little stressed. They're already a little crispy. This is not a good spot for them. And I've been on the lookout for some Astilbes. So I'm going to get those out separate, and they're going to come to the cottage too. Now, there are a couple other things in here that are stressed because of the extra sun they've been getting, but I will find a spot for that. In fact, I already have one. It's just not quite ready as of yet. So let me go grab my loppers. Let me go find some pots to stick these in, and probably grab a bag of soil just in case. And then, and a shovel. And we will get these up in our pots. I got them out. You may have seen that I struggled a little bit. Unbeknownst to me, along where the Heliopsis, there was some really big roots, which meant that I basically had to kind of loosen it and then rip it out of the ground. Luckily, they're fairly shallow rooted, so that wasn't as hard to do. They naturally broke. One of them broke into two, and the other one I cut into two because it was actually bending that way. And you may have seen that I added some soil inside the pots that I stuck them in, and I watered everything in really, really well. So they're only going to be in these pots for like 48 hours at most, because I'm leaving for the cottage tomorrow and they're coming with me, and I'll plant them either tomorrow or the day after. So the good news is they won't be in these containers for long. It's getting quite dark. My camera's actually turning a light on, so I won't stay out here too long, but the two Astilbe are looking okay. These guys are looking good. There was actually one that when I watered it, it was just running through, so I added some more soil and that helped retain the water. But I think they should be happy enough for such a short period of time, even though they do look so sad with their flowers chopped off. I just have to show you this. Do you see this? I know it's time. It's a little hot air balloon ornament, and I know it's time for me to go inside when it turns on. So I'm going to quickly gather up all my tools and put them away, but I think these guys will be happy enough for tonight, and we will pick this video back up when we're at the cottage and ready to get them in the ground. Okay, we are back at the cottage with those plants. I'm going to get in the ground. I just want to point out that I forgot my hat at home, so I'm borrowing this one from my family. I have no affiliation with John Deere, other than we have John Deere products. So let me show you how they look. It has actually been 2 days since we pulled them out of the ground at the city house, and they're looking like a little sad, but in general I think they're good. We're actually going to plant these second, but you can see I'm so glad that I chopped off all of the foliage, because this looks pretty healthy, not too droopy, but you can see a couple areas where there was one or two that didn't get cut. They are a little sadder, so I think in general it was a good idea to chop them. Let me go show you the Astilbe, because those are actually what we are going to plant first. Here are what the Astilbe looked like. I'm a little bummed because they're in full sun, but I'm just gonna quick do what I need to get these in the ground. So this is the one that I think I split it into two plants because naturally it wasn't two, and both are looking really well. I should mention, as soon as we got up here, I gave them a very good water, and I watered them really well yesterday as well. So I'm gonna stick one right there and one, the smaller one, right here. So let us get them in the ground. Okay, I got them in the ground. They look good. I don't remember what variety of Astilbe these are. I honestly don't remember even what color they flower. I'm thinking it might be like a light pink. If they are, then they're probably a Vision in Pink Astilbe, but I am not sure at all. So I do know that they don't get massive. I think that they should top out about 12 to 14 inches. So putting them at the edge of a border is okay, especially because the 12 to 14 inches includes their, it might be more like 18 inches with the bloom spike, but either way, they're lower growing. It's okay to put them at the front of a border. So let me show you where I tucked them in. This is the small one. I actually faced it so the growth, this had been very shaded by a hosta in my yard, as you saw earlier. So I think that the sun will be coming at it from like this direction. And when it comes up next year, it'll be better, but I just put it like that so the sadder side gets more sun. And then this one just kind of tucked in here perfectly. I wanted to move it forward just a little bit, but the stones actually go back. So I think that's fine. And then maybe I'll get some like creeping Jenny or something to just go at the front, though I do have to check if that is deer resistant. I also wanted to point out, do you see this? I had been like almost positive that I put more of the toad lilies in, but I couldn't find them anywhere. They never came up. So I thought I was wrong or they died. But I am very sure that is a toad lily. And I'm so excited to see it because that's not a bad spot for it. And it's good that it finally showed itself, because I was going to put a Astilbe there. And then I saw it and was like, oh, maybe not. But Anyway, on to these guys. These are actually going to go in the backyard in an area that has a lot of weeds right now. So I'm going to pull the weeds and then get them planted. And then we'll kind of show you what's around there and what other plans we have for the area in the future. Okay, and here is the section that they are going. It is fairly taken over by weeds right now, though there are probably a couple of lupins in here that we don't want to hurt. There's one right there, in fact. So what I'm gonna do is get this deer fence off and get it weeded, and then we'll get these in the ground, and I think it'll be just a nice little swoop here, which will be pretty. I got that area weeded. You might have been able to see it was quite bad. And I've got these where I think they're gonna go, and I'll just show you and talk you through what I'm thinking in terms of spacing. So these guys get about 18 inches to 2 feet wide, and they broke into 4. I'm hoping they get that big again. So I might edge that up a little bit, but I'm thinking if I put about 18 inches of space between them, it'll create this nice big swoop while still giving some space to the lupins we have here and space for them to spread. We can also add another flower later if we want to as well. But I think this is what I'm gonna do. Done. Woohoo! So I did end up scooching them a little. I moved that one up and I moved this one back. So now it'll be like this, and that leaves a spot right here for us to add something else. Just a little more low growing. I actually think like a sedum here would be really, really nice. Sedum, maybe some Nepeta or yarrow, something like that. So I think I want to get these watered in and call it a day, because even though there is a breeze, it is quite warm. So I'm very much looking forward to being done. I have to haul all my yard scraps back to the pile, but other than that, that's all she wrote for this video. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll get these watered in, and I'm sure that these will make an appearance in future tour videos. We're going to be filming a tour in like 2.5 weeks. We'll go over and show you what things look like in a new season. So there will be a mid-August cottage tour for you guys, and we'll check in on these plants then. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me today and a few days ago as we shifted these from my house in the city here. I think they're gonna love it here. Everything we move here does. And I really appreciate you joining me. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.